Hello and welcome to Staying the Course. This is a conversation that is empowered by Christ for the Nations Ministries. I'm Muvunyi, and I would love to start by wishing you a happy Easter. They used to say, let Christ resurrect in your life. And I believe that those who have believed in him, he already resurrected in their lives, but those who haven't believed in him, you could still choose to believe him today, and he would resurrect in your life. This day is a very special day to a lot of people because personally, I also believe that this is the greatest miracle that the world has ever experienced. Some people say there are 7 wonders of the world, others say there are 8, I don't know how many there are, but there is this one that is beyond a wonder because it's changed everything in the world. It's changed the history of the world, it has changed and transformed so many lives through generations and generations. But also it's about the man who actually created the world. So I wish you a very, very, very happy Easter. Today, we are going to be in the same series that we have started a few weeks ago. Last Sunday, we talked about the dignity of femininity. Today, we'll be talking about the dignity of masculinity. But we'll be specifically talking about the side of mentorship, the side of guiding young men to grow, young boys to grow into young men or even men, older men and all that. Because everybody that was once young, they grow up and they become something. There's a saying in Kinyarwanda that says, "Izbikazara maji." In English, we used to translate it, and we would say, "Like once cocks were eggs." So I hope that's not our English. I hope you get what I'm saying. And today I'm privileged to be with one of the most brilliant ladies I've ever met, and we have hosted her some time back, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I saw so many of your comments. You also commented that she's a genius. So I hope tonight, as we have this conversation, you're going to be able to learn a lot. I'm with Miss Jullian.
Yes.
Jullian, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back again.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
How is Easter?
Easter is here. We're having it here.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So we'll get into it, and I would love us to start by probably reminding our viewers who you are, and for those who are watching us for the first time, you tell them who is Jullian.
Thank you. My name is Jullian Martha Kiiza Betamuriza. Born and raised in Uganda to Rwandan parents. Born again Christian. I love Jesus. Everything that I do rotates around my relationship with God or my faith. Yeah.
What do you do?
Okay. If you don't ask, there's a lot about me. So the reason I'm here is that I have a boy-child foundation called Jullian Boys Foundation. We'll talk more about how it started. But besides that, I work with Masaka Farms. I serve as Director of Commercial Operations. That's for work. For ministry, again, I serve the boys for ministry, but I also serve with the youth in church. I go to Christian Life Assembly. I serve with the prayer ministry, and yeah. And I was recently made deacon. So
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah, I love serving the Lord in every aspect of life.
Oh, glory to God. Glory to God. Deacons are people that I respect so much. I don't know, different churches have different settings, and they probably have different definitions for deacons, but at least those churches I have been to, deacons were the kind of people that you learn to. Because, you know, pastors, we love them, they love us, and but we kind of respect them too much. That running to them sometimes can be a bit tricky. But you sometimes would be with the deacons here and there, and then all of a sudden, if you need something or if you need some help, it's much easier for you to get them. So I've a lot of respect for deacons, but also from the Bible. In the Bible, I think they were handling some great matters at the time. Remember when they were elected?
Yeah. In my context, we are support system to the pastors. There's usually a lot of responsibilities upon their shoulders, so you're just there to give them support and to do to go where they can't go. Yeah.
Exactly.
If it's evangelism, if it's reaching out to the needy, to the poor.
Yeah, I think it's the context for almost all churches. Yeah, so about boys, people who have seen our poster for today.
Yeah.
We're asking me, so are you sure it's supposed to be dignity for masculinity, or it's supposed to be for femininity? Because you invited a lady, and I was trying to explain to them that she has so much to share. But you have also already mentioned that you've started the Boys Foundation.
Yes.
And before we get to its name and to when you start, because most of the times by the time someone starts a ministry, it's because they have already been doing it without a proper organizational structure. But the passion is already there, the call is already there, and I would love us to start from where things started. When do you, for the first time, feel like part of so many things that you have to fulfill as part of your life's purpose is going to be a portion for men? When do you feel that kind of calling?
Thanks. That's a long story. It can take us 4 days, but let me try to look for the right words to compact it in like just 2 minutes. It wasn't obvious. I think in this journey, I'm going to start with my biggest challenge, then you understand why it wasn't so easy. My biggest challenge was self-doubt and looking down on myself and saying, Lord, why are you telling me to do this? In 2017, we were at a youth camp in my former church, Watoto Church, and we had a youth camp where we had to go to the prison ministry, to community. So when we are doing camps, we separate in groups. Some groups go to the prisons, other groups go to the hospital, other groups. But it's a youth camp, and they're training us to be, servants in the church. And yeah, it's part of what camp does. So we went to prison. My team went to prison. And as we entered the prison, there were so many. It was not in Kampala, it was up country. It was in Hoima district. And on the chart, the inmate chart, there's where they write how many women and how many men. At that time, there were 12 women and 183 men. It's not even town. It's not as a town. It's a small urban city. And those were, my eyes just went to, these men left women home with their children, and they're locked in prison. And who is taking care of their wives and children? Who is taking care? Like, what's happening with the boy child? What's happening with the men? Because it starts with the brokenness starts with that. But so I noticed that my heart is broken, but I don't know what to do. We are here for ministry. We do what has brought us. We go back. When we were going back towards the end, our pastors are sharing what the church is doing. So that the youth can register into ministry. So part of what, among the many things that the pastor said, he said the church is into ministry in the neighborhood, reaching out to vulnerable women and children, and part of, and then he gave us a scenario, or a case scenario where this man has 6 children and a wife that he comes back home and beats, doesn't leave money home, but this woman washes clothes in the neighborhood to be able to get food to feed the 6 children. And as a result, one of the children, I think, had been forced into child labor, being like a house help, so that afatanye na mamawi. So as he's telling the story, my heart is so, because of what we had seen already, I'm connecting to again. Of course, he's showing what the church is doing, and it's amazing, but my heart is running toward the vulnerable man who will ever hold the hand of this man and tell him, this is how men be men, take care of their own. This is how men, you see how we do it for women? This is how men become men. You can't be a man if you have children crying at home. Like, I'm looking at a vulnerable man in all this story, and at the end of that discussion, the pastor is saying, does anyone have a question? I don't even know how my hand was up. I just raised my hand and asked. It was a camp of like 4,000 youth, because it's a huge church with different branches, so all branches had come.
So I have been to Watoto.
Yeah.
I've been to Watoto. I was in far north of Uganda.
Watoto North, Gulu, yeah. So all branches had come, and now we were so many, and I was nervous, but my hand is up to ask a question. So I'm nervous and I'm shaking, and then I asked the pastor, what about that vulnerable man? Is there anything we are doing for him as a church? Like, I don't even remember finishing the question. My heart was so heavy, I just started weeping. I cried, and then I cried. I cried for like an hour. I excused myself. But then I was crying, saying, Lord, help the men. Lord, help the boys. Lord, help. Mercy. Because I'm looking at, it's as if, and that season was as if God had zoomed everything on for my eyes to see. The boys, as we are driving on the streets, I'm only seeing boys, no rumoji, boys with torn trousers. Boys are the ones pickpocketing people on the streets. Everywhere I was going, I'm just seeing boys. And usually, when there are girls on the streets, there are organizations that come running and pick the girl off the street. And it's okay because it's biblical. The Bible calls us to help the women and children, the widows, you know. And it's biblical, and I have no problem with that. But then I kept wondering, what about the men? What about the boys? What do we do? What can society do? What can a mere girl like me do? I say, why am I even concerned? That's all I was seeing. One day I'm at work and there's a video playing on the screen. Again, I'm just telling you, that is the season. Everything was just, it's as if for a bit, God had given me his lenses to see life in his lenses for a bit. And we are watching, it's a normal video by a secular artist called Jennifer Lopez, and is saying, I don't remember the words, but he's pushing a man's head and stepping on them and saying, I'm not your mama, da 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 da.
Yeah, I think I know the song.
What I'm looking at,
I Ain't Your Mama.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the song, but I'm not looking at the song. I'm looking at an international celebrity who is more like indoctrinating or mentoring young girls. This is how we treat men, or this is what we should do. That's all I was looking. I'm like, why is everything just against men? Like, what's happening? What's happening to the men? What's happening to our boys? What's happening to our brothers? What's happening to our... By that time, I hadn't reached the brother part, because I felt like, yes, I'm looking at that life in that lenses, but it's kind of far from me, like it's not close. And I'm drawn with compassion towards the boys, and I don't know why. The boys, everywhere we would go. Later, around 2020, I was serving with the Ministry of Education in Uganda, and we were doing a global fund project. And the global fund was helping the teenage girl child to go back to school. So we were giving them bags, books, sanitary pads, everything, like Vaseline, everything that can help, and we would put them in like school bags. So we are helping the girl keep in school. And every time we would go there, more girls were getting pregnant. Why? Because they were getting something. I'm like, what, are we helping? And now, I wanted to know that that time, everything was just leading me to the boy child. So one day we are bringing these things, the subsidies we were giving the girls, and then a young boy, about 11, 12 years, taps me and says, teacher, because I wasn't a teacher. I was just serving on a small part of the project, but this boy taps me and said, teacher, what about us? Spoke in a local language. What about us?
Wow.
Now, that broke my heart because I was in the season of God is zooming in on boy child. Whatever I'm seeing is boy child. And then this boy taps me and said, teacher, what about us? Because they see us coming to schools, we read out girls' names, girls from really, really vulnerable families, and we are giving these things. Then they're like, when the boy asked me, what about us? I went and cried away from the boy, because that thing now broke my heart.
Yeah.
I said, indeed, what about the boys? No, the boy asking me was bare feet. They taught boys where the shorts of the uniform has holes behind. You can see the bam bam.
Yeah.
So it was deep in the village. I was handling the eastern region, the Busoga region. Of course, you don't know those things, but yeah. So it deep down in the village, and I said, indeed, what about the boys? And then one day I dared to speak in a meeting and said, but every time we go back, we find more girls pregnant. We are helping the girls not to get pregnant. But we are not saying anything to the boys that make them pregnant. It starts with the boy. It is the boy that makes the move. I mean, are we solving a problem if we don't involve the boy child? If we really want the girls to stay in school, how about we start with the boys? We educate the boys on why their fellow girls need to be in school. So those are the questions that were coming in my heart all the time. What about the boys? What about if change started with the boy? What about if we want a good future for our girls? What about we train their husbands? What about we train the fathers of tomorrow? If we want the society, if we want women, if we want gender-based violence to stop, what about we train boys while they are still young, that it's important to respect women and children. Your strength was given to you to protect women and children, not to violate them, not to use that strength against them. I mean, let me not preempt the question, but it's from those questions that...
You can continue with the story. I think you learn more from the story.
Yeah.
So from there, what happens?
Yeah, so those questions are bubbling in me, and every time I'm praying, I'm just crying and saying, God, have mercy upon the boy child. Have mercy upon the boys. And then the words, the boys we see today are the men of tomorrow, was always lingering. This boy, one day will be a man. But what kind of man will that boy be? Isn't it better that we make this man right now? Just like society and government and churches and, you know, families have tried to do that for the girls. Because we want to see women in business, women in leadership, we educate the girl child. Because we want, and indeed we become those things. We become, because I like to say, I am a very empowered girl child. I am a very empowered girl child. But someone held my hand, someone taught me, someone taught me even morals, someone taught me leadership, someone mentored me, and then I became. What about the boys? What about if we became as intentional as how we are with the girls? Not that we were never. I know history has changed and there is a reason why things are happening the way they are. With due respect, it just feels like the gap is becoming too big, and every day, and the boy child is just kind of caged in a place where he doesn't even know anymore how to become a man. He doesn't know anymore how to become a father. He doesn't know anymore, just exists, just growing, you know. When those questions were many, I think I used to talk about it on social media. Hey, let boys be boys. I would go to schools. When you hear a boy that has been like disciplined or under certain punishment, is because they were trying to be boys. who are playing like playing with toy guns. They are trying to be boys. They are doing wrestling. And I felt like even schools were just confining boys to be like a girl, to be another girl in a male body. Let boys be boys. Let them expose their energy. If boys eat and the energy just is confined, then we're just turning them into girls, into readers. Not that boys should not read, but people, readers who are emotional. This story is cute. They are not supposed to run around because then they are stubborn. Then they sit down. Then they like
behave.
Yeah.
Be organized.
And then it just felt like we are slowly but surely kind of phasing away what makes a boy, competitiveness. When a boy is competing, or when schools are competing, you see that they try to give the girl also. No, if it's the boy who won, let them win. If it's the boy who got the marks, let them, because you're training the competitiveness in him that will make him a great leader, that will make him ambitious, that will make him, let them, because they want to compete. They want to feel like they achieved something. If we kill the achievement, like, those are the things that kept coming in my heart all the time, not once, not 3 times. And sometimes I didn't know what to do about them. I am going to pray and I'm just crying. I'm like, Lord, why am I seeing this? Why am I, what is this for?
Trying to lead me to.
So that camp, that youth camp, going back a little bit.
Wait, have you ever read a book called Wild at Heart by John Enlarge, I think. I don't remember the second name. I think we should recommend this book to the viewers.
What is it?
Find a book. It's called The Wild at Heart.
The Wild?
Wild at Heart. It's talking about how men are wild, how they were created from the wild. Man, when you're describing letting men be men, letting boys be boys, one would think you have sat together with this author and got that part.
I need to read it.
I will do something about it. So, going back to the camp.
Yes, so the camp, that evening, after that scenario of I'm asking a question and I'm crying, words can't even come out of me. I'm very nervous. It's a very huge group of people. Just different individuals kept coming. What was that? Why were you crying? I remember the pastor on the microphone saying, wow, this young lady is so passionate about men. And then I remember seeing him saying, may God, he made a short prayer, and then he encouraged me and said, but we are doing something about it. And then he listed the things that the church is doing about the men of valor, Now, in the evening at fireplace, the fireplace was supposed to be about what we've learned in camp, because next day then we were leaving. Fireplace changed the course, and people were just saying, well, when Jullian asked the question, I think it's important that we take care of the boys because they become men. And then another person said, you see, my father raped me. Another one says, my father abandoned us when we were young. And then we realized people had a lot of father wounds. Now that evening just became about men, boys, and fathers. People were just crying. And I saw pastors coming to hug people and pray for them. And I remember towards the end, the pastor says, Jullian, come and lead us. You started off this conversation.
Wow.
Come and lead us in a prayer. And I remember. And then they asked, for you, what about your father? How was your father? And then I shared.
I was going to ask you the same thing.
Yeah. And then I shared about my father. You were going to
I was going to ask you about the same question. You say all that, and I think, of course, what's going on in your, I'm assuming that what's going on in your mind, as you think about fathers, you think about boys, there's no way you're not going to think about your father and your brothers. But let's start with your father. For you, what was your father situation like? What was your relationship with your father like? Or if he's still around, how do you relate to him?
Yes, unfortunately, by that time, my father had gone to be with the Lord. By the time those things are coming into my, because they came when I was about 20 years, early 20s, but my dad died when I was 16 years. But I had a very, very, very good relationship with Daddy. My father taught me the love of God. I understood God's love through Daddy's eyes. Wow. Yeah. My father would write to me letters at school, wow, and he would say, my lovely daughter. My father is the first person who told me that I was beautiful. Wow. And I would freely ask Daddy, what does it mean for a boy to love you? Actually, that's when he knew, So I was that free with him. I would share. There's nothing in my heart I couldn't tell my father. And there's something that made me. It gave me confidence. You couldn't tell me that nothing. My relationship with my father gave me confidence because I knew that my father loves me. My father thinks I'm very beautiful. My father thinks I am. My father would speak, he was a pastor, so sometimes he would give a sermon and give examples of me. Wow. I felt like...
Were you the only daughter?
No, we are 3 daughters and 1 brother.
Interesting.
Yeah, so not that he was just doing it for me, but I'm just zeroing it on me. It's interesting because one would think you were the only one, but now realizing how great of a father he must have been for you to feel that. Yeah, and if you ask my sisters, all of us think our dad loved us more. Every one of us thinks it was me he loved, it was me he loved, because he knew how to customize
each one of
love to us. Okay, this is Jullian, Jullian is like this, and he would love us in that category. Wow. Different. We are different personalities. And I look back and I'm like, how did he do it? How did he do it? I remember some time in life, I think my dad had fought with my mom. They had had an argument for some reason, I don't know. Never asked. But I remember seeing my dad. I went to you know how kids, you go to your parents' bedroom, you just bump into them. And then I bump into my parents' bedroom. And my dad was asking my mom saying, I'm sorry.
Wow.
And then he said, let's pray. Whatever it is.
Goodness.
It was my first time to see like that a man can ask for forgiveness to Meanwhile, we thought my dad was I used to think my dad was a saint. Never sinned in it. Maybe he did. Not in front of us anyway.
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of men make mistakes, but very few acknowledge the mistakes and apologize for them. So yeah, that wasn't something normal, to be honest with you. Especially with their generations, I think. And
he left. He died when our brother was still young, very young. So I think my brother didn't get in that time the love we got, or the attention, or the...
Your brother is the last born?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so once in a while my mom says, Ewan, like God blessed me with a husband, and he's long gone. So there's a lot to learn about him. We have twins at home, so he was a Salongo, and because of that, every twin was related to us. He was a father to so many
twins,
and and we learned that he was a father to so many, and a mentor to so many, and those small things taught us things. Yeah. He would come to school to visit us on VD because we were in boarding school, and he has not bought grub for you. Grub is like something to chew on the whole term. He would buy milk for the whole school. Wow. He buys things and gives the headmaster and says, this is for all my children. Put this milk in porridge so that all children... Like, what is that? All up to now, some of those things still beat my understanding.
Wow.
What was that? So he taught us to be generous, taught us to live in the simplicity of life. What you don't have, you don't have it. Don't enjoy what you have. And I learned those things from him, to love people, to respect everyone. You could not say that Kaman or Kariya Kagabo Changwa Kariya Kagore in front of him. He said Kahu all the time. You could not say something bad in front of him. He calls it out immediately. Wow. You would sing a secular song and daddy asks you, so what have you learned from it?
Wow.
So we learned a lot from him. Unfortunately, we had him for a short time, but even the short time, he left a mark.
Yeah.
And when I was crying to God over fathers, I was wishing that so many young
father like yours.
Teenagers or so many young kids had a father like mine.
Yeah.
To give them confidence, security, make them know that he didn't even have much. I hope I don't give the impression that my dad was rich. Nada. He wasn't. But he gave us the confidence of living with what we have and be content. Kuburjo, we know how to be content with or without anything. And we learned that from him.
Wow. So, now let's go to your brother also, because a few things I've learned from you or about you is that also your brother played a part in you answering to this call that God had been had placed on your heart for some time, even though you didn't know what to do about it. But somehow your brother plays a role. I think the word that people use is the hard way. So tell us that story.
Yeah. So again, even though the questions were lingering in my heart and they are kind of zeroed to the boys, it wasn't obvious that I had to do anything about it. I would pray, and then actually I remember praying that God brings the men, raises pastors, leaders in government, raises people who are more qualified, who can do something about the boys. Hence, me talking about it on social media, thinking someone who has the resources, who has the voice, can actually land on that video and do something about it. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But it's as if I like to look at it this way, not that it's entirely true, but I feel like when God wanted me to really do something about it, he made it more personal. He brought it more personal. Now there I couldn't, because I was just praying about it and saying, Lord, raise men, raise pastors. I say, why am I feeling these things? Why do I cry over boys? I'm not even a boy, I'm not even a mother, I'm not even name it.
Why should it be?
Where do I fall in this category? I didn't feel the credibility to even have. And you're right, people were asking you, why is it the girl trying to speak about me? But then I stopped asking. When I waited and no one came, when I prayed and no one came, but the issue continued growing. When they continued going deeper, like a cancer growing, every day you just see something happening. If it's not high rate suicides, it's just depression. I'm an evangelist by calling, so I would go to prisons, hospitals, rehabilitation centers. They're filled with boys, with young men that the devil is just oppressing and stealing from. Yeah. And again, my eyes are seeing those things. And then one day, it became even more personal. I get a call from school, from my brother's school.
Were you still in school or you had completed?
I was still in school, but at university.
Okay.
I get a call from my brother's school. My brother had written my name as guardian. He didn't want my mom to be... My mom has pressure issues, so for her sake, we don't bombard her with bad news. We go slow. So my brother registered my number.
You're the firstborn?
No, I'm not the first. He follows me direct.
So you're closest.
So we are close, yeah. We were not close.
Before that?
These things made us close. We were not so close. He's young. There's a huge gap between us. And imagine he follows me now, my big sisters. So we were not that close. He was the only boy. It's not that we always included him in conversation. Like, you're young. You're young, but also...
You're a boy.
Yeah. Again, one thing I didn't mention is part of the pressure that hit my brother is the responsibility of being a man after dad had died, and he didn't even understand what it meant. He was the heir. They are telling him, now you're going to do ABCD. Now he sees a lot. He doesn't even know who he is. He hasn't even, he was just becoming a teenager. Yeah, but before you know it, he has to sign if we are selling land, if we are doing anything at home. He's supposed to.
Yeah, to be the man of the house.
Yeah, and our relatives are, yeah, they are calling him my dad's name and expecting him
to step into your father's
yeah, to
shoes.
step up to what my dad was. And he felt pressure. We didn't even know. I was called at school, and the school wanted to expel him. And he was doing his senior 4. Senior 4 in Uganda is a candidate class. Here is like a...
Yeah, here it's
after,
senior 3. So.
Yeah, so it's the equivalent of senior 3. The teacher said he doesn't go to class, he's doing drugs, he was found, all the issues. And I know we don't have a dad. Even the little school fees we get is by God's grace, and I'm looking at this young man playing with that. At that time, our close relatives were paying our school fees. And I'm like, do you understand what you're doing? When they called me at school, the first thing I did, because everything was correct, I gave him a hot slap. And late after teachers have left, I'm like, what is happening? What is going on? What don't you see? Can't you see we don't even have a father for you to start acting like this? And then he said, the problem is you also believe what everyone says before you even ask me. I'm like, what is it? And then he told me, I've been sick, I don't eat. I am in too much pain that I want to drink it off, that I don't feel it. I'm like, what do you mean sick? He opens his tummy, and his tummy is swollen. And he's been sick. I'm like,
what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? And then I'm panicking. And he had lost a lot of weight. Then I realized my brother has been in pain for a long time. No one knew. No one asked. Every one of us concluded
It was just
that he's not going to school, to class. He's not attending class because he can't even be in class for an hour. So he had been sick. I don't know what he couldn't even go to the toilet. Like, it was a digestive issue. And then I tell the teachers, my brother has been sick. None of you knows. And you've called me here because you want to expel him. No, I just lost it. In my head, as we were talking, my brother says that if I didn't come today, he was going to go to the dormitory, take overdose, and die, because he knew if he goes home, we are going to also be on his case. Why did you? Why did all that? And he has already been getting that from school. And he said, that's what I was going to do. And I'm like, oh my God. I couldn't afford to have lost another man in our family. And I hug him. I'm like, I am so sorry. What do we do? I ask permission from school to go Muvunyi, and then, yeah, that's the beginning. The more I talked to my brother, I understood his pains, his issues, and I tried. Now I came from an angle of, I want to understand you. What is going on? What's happening? What is your greatest pain? What are you afraid of the most? What are your aspirations? What are you looking forward to? What makes you happy? What makes you excited? What ticks it for you? Like, in detail, I was getting to just know this young man. And that's how he started. As he was getting healed and trying to go back to school to do his national examinations, in holidays, he calls me and tells me, do you remember my friend? My best friend so-and-so, yeah. He's in rehab. Can we visit him? I'm like, sure. He takes me to visit his friends. one friend leads to another friend. Before I know it, I'm surrounded by young men who are telling me issues. Some are father issues, others are mother issues, others are sibling issues, others are bullying issues, others are just everyone, others have failure issues, identity issues. And at that time, I'm not that I was working, I was just a student. I could only encourage them and pray for them, not doing much. But I realized that the more we met, the more better they felt. I'm an evangelist, so I'm witnessing Christ to them, telling them that we have a greatest Father who is the Lord. And later, in a rehabilitation center, it's called Teen Challenge in Uganda, I was given, because I kept coming, I was given an opportunity to volunteer, to keep coming. And once in a while, we would help guys, these young men who have no longer young anymore. They're like 40s, been down with drugs for years, and they abandoned children, and they would tell me their stories, and now I'm helping them reconcile with these children. Like, how old is your daughter? This age, about P6 now. I don't know whether she wants to see me. I'm like, let's write her later. And that's one thing led to another, and we were trying to reconcile families. When I remember someone said, my father disowned me because I'd been doing drugs for all this time. I would escape from school. I'm like, now let's write a letter to your father and apologize. So I realized it's becoming a ministry, but it was not a registered ministry or known. Every now and then, I would call a few friends, let's go to this rehab. Let's have these boys in holidays, talk to them. And like that, one thing led to another.
And now JBF. Yeah,
JBF was a dream. I had a dream, and in this dream, I see a big signpost that has Jullian Boys Foundation. And it has pictures of different kids playing and all. The details are too deep for camera, but yeah, I knew that maybe this is what God is calling me to do. To take it bigger and deeper and more impactful, not just something I do here and there. Yeah.
So what are you doing today? How is it going?
Today we started officially 2024, yeah, in Rwanda, because it follows me, you know. I know. Yeah, I was doing it informally or unofficially in Uganda, every now and then doing ministry, but when I came in Rwanda, I decided to take it a notch higher, go deeper, be more impactful. We help boys that were worse than my brother. When I see young boys, I see my brother's state. And sometimes I realize some of them are even worse than him. And then what we do is we speak life to them. We remind them who they are, what they're supposed to be in life. They are not a mistake. They could have been a parental mistake, but they're not a divine mistake. God has purpose for them. Pick some of them from the street, abandoned boys, boys with no hope. We teach them self-awareness and purpose, identity, because that's where things break. And then we attach them to mentors that can walk a journey with them. And as much as God has called me to the boys, I know that I'm limited. There are things I can't do, like how another man could do it. So that's why it's important that when we are mentoring, we attach boys to big brothers, someone who can be a brother figure or a father figure. Take back to school some of them. We do life skills development to learn a skill. We haven't yet, we have a lot we want to do in the boys, just that our resources become thin every now and then. That's another thing, because it's rare that you find boy things
being
funded or people are excited to. But we have, we are not going to let go, whether we will use the small we have. We believe in planting a seed and allowing the seed to germinate. One day it will become big. In all this, God gave me a scripture called in Malachi 4:6. Malachi 4:6. It's written on our t-shirts, on everything we do, it says, and he will turn the hearts of their fathers to their children, and the hearts of their children to their fathers, lest I come and strike the earth. That's the last scripture in the Old Testament, and that, when I got that scripture some time back in prayer, I knew that God is very passionate about fathers and sons, because fathers build nations. It is great men or good men that fight the bad men in society, the bad conduct, the violent men, the toxic men. But if we don't train our good men or our boys to become these good men who fight injustice, who fight for the girls, you know, and women, then we are left hanging.
Yeah.
The future is just left hanging. Yeah.
Goodness. So there's so much that isn't there, but I'll try to. I think we need another conversation.
I'm also trying to summarize.
I know. We need another conversation because there is so much there to unpack. But so, Jullian Boys Foundation. You mentor boys, like you find boys, but one might be asking themselves, which age range do you do you go for? Also, how do people partner with you?
Yeah.
Maybe those who would want to fund the Boys Foundation, how do they reach you?
Thank you. Those are very important questions. We have different age groups. We have people that call us and say, hey, this is a boy of 16 years. Very brilliant, but no school fees. Can you help? Hey, this is a boy whose father is in prison and just lost a mother. Can you help? Which made us a range of age group. What we do is we categorize them and try to customize what they need. Some boys come and they don't need education. They don't need to go to school, to class. But the education they need is learning a new skill, learning how to drive, learning how to build, learning how to, paint. So those boys, we have them, but we don't exceed 18 years. So we have, the youngest so far is 7. No, I think he made 8. And the oldest is 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. So how do people partner with you? Do they, you have a number that they call? Do they write
we have
you?
a website. It's called JullianBoysFoundation.com. People can reach out to us on the website or on our Instagram, Jullian Boys Foundation. People can call me to partner with me. I really need partners and partnerships. I really need mentors, not just of every sort, even ranging from money, because we need school fees for these boys. We really need to educate the boys. School fees, needs, basic needs, yeah, as small as a shaver. Let me make it as small as a shaver, because these boys, we don't want them to go steal. We can only educate them, encourage them to work. So what we do, we encourage these boys to work, to do something, and then we give them, we pay them to encourage the working skill. Yeah. But yeah, we need a lot of support. Someone can say, I don't have money, but I can give of my services. I'm a psychologist. I can help with boys that have been dealing with drugs for some time. I can help with, I'm a factory. I can give you toilet papers for 2 months. I'm a factory. I can give you soap, t-shirts, all that. When it's a foundation, help is help, and support is support, and everything comes in handy. Someone can say, I'm a farmer. I've given you beans for a whole year. I'm just giving you an example. So all that is support that is needed. Boys are very excited. They love what we are doing. They have learned to love God. We do discipleships with them. We do self-awareness. We do inner healing with them, because they have inner wounds. Some are parental wounds, others are just societal wounds. The fear of tomorrow, the fear of what they are going to become. And what we do is we first deal with those.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So we actually coming close to the close of the conversation, and I have these two things that I wouldn't let you go before you help our viewers with. One, I know you cannot probably exhaust all the challenges that boys are facing today in today's world, and of course you've mentioned some, but alongside your story you were touching some, and of course you were trying to, you know, to keep the story short because it had more details. But I'm asking these questions, these two questions combined, so that you understand why the first question and why the last question. One is, if you could give a feel to people watching us here tonight, I'm talking about parents, mothers and fathers, I'm talking about young men, young women, if you could give them a feel of what boys struggle with in today's society. Because apart from God having laid it on your hands and your personal observation, now that you have actually been working with boys, and I'm assuming you've interacted with so many other organizations that are helping boys, you've interacted with these kids, you've seen them, you've talked to them, if you could take us through some of the biggest, maybe it may not touch every challenge, but the biggest, and also help our viewers, especially those who are in positions to help, educate them how they can help young boys. I'm talking about, let's say, pastors. How would pastors help? How would men out there who are just, you know, doing a job or something, how would they come in and help? How do mothers help? I mean, how can society come together and help? Because recently I had a gentleman and I asked him, it's very hard to ask men to go and mentor other young men, because this man tells you, I have 2 boys and I don't have enough time for them because I'm working. Chigen life is very expensive and all that. It's hard for me to even find time for them. Now asking me to go and mentor someone else's child is just asking me too much. But I'm sure that the bigger the challenge, the higher the empowerment that God gives us to be able to help. So help us, one, the challenges, the biggest ones, and then how do we as a community come in to help?
So there are types of boys. There are boys in families with parents, and there are boys with no parents. So there are boys in good schools, there are boys that are not in school. So those boys kind of need different things. But one thing that cuts across was the challenges was fatherlessness. Some boys have fathers, but the fathers are absent. They are there, they exist, but they're absent in their lives. And I noticed that's a huge, huge gap and a huge challenge when a boy doesn't have a father. Fatherlessness is a huge issue, not only to individuals, but to the nation. It's a cancer that is eating our generation. Fatherlessness and then identity crisis. Because of fatherlessness, people don't know who they are. You know, it's from our fathers that we get our names, our identity. And when there's no father, you don't even know who you are. You're not even sure. No wonder our boys become girls, because they are becoming whatever they feel like, whatever is more common to them. Fatherlessness, identity crisis, and then the pressure to become men, and they don't even understand what that means. There's a lot of pressure to become men. The rich, the poor, the rich, the boy will try to do something so that the father is proud of him. But is it school that would make the father proud? Is it, some boys are, I want to give my dad these results as long as I do whatever I want. This degree, he wanted me to be an engineer, I will give him this degree, and but is that what the father wants? So the pressure to become somebody, and then failure. Boys and men, I don't want to generalize, but most boys and most men don't know how to handle failure. What happens after you have failed? I saw a huge gap. That's why there's a lot of suicides among this gender, the male gender, even among young people, the youth and teenagers. If they have failed in school, if they have failed in life, they can't get a job, what they become is usually not good. So what I would encourage people to do, the pastors, speak positively to the men. Men use a lot of good encouragement. And also boys, encourage them that they're good. Celebrate their small wins. Maybe they're not there, but there's something they're doing right. When they respect another person, they're doing right. Celebrate them. And then give them feedback without making them feel like they have failed. Because no one wants to know that they're not wanted or loved, or they're a problem to society. And if they become, because they are also boys who are a problem to society, then discipline them according to the law. But we should not be quick to find. I used to say that so many times we build prisons for boys and NGOs for girls when they fail. Boys, I mean, that has been my experience, but I stand to be corrected, because not all the boys, but it's quick. When a boy makes a mistake, it's quickly that prison will be waiting for them, and the girl makes a mistake, and then we find a way of rehabilitating them or putting them in some, and this cuts across. It's in the world, it's globally, it's global, but if we could tolerate the boys more, and also find a way of, if it's school, if it's universities, let's raise boys with allowing them to know that there's a place in the world for them, not them to feel like the world is slowly kicking them out of the system. Because when you hear a boy tapping and says, what about us? What about us is a huge thing, because then they realize 2 or 3 times they are not counted in. So involve the boys.
So that's what pastors can do. How about ordinary men and women who...
Actually, it was general. It wasn't just for pastors. Mainly general, but also with parents to raise boys not like girls, to customize child raising, and know this is a boy. There's equity. Equity is giving people according to what suits them. And equality, giving them the same. I don't know whether I agree so much with equality. I feel like I agree a lot with equity, but that's just me, and it's according to my experience. Equity is you can do this. I'm going to give you what you are able to do, and I give another person according to what they are able to do. And equality just puts everyone on the same, even without putting in consideration energy, skill set, and gifting different how they come. So in child raising, I think we should put in consideration. We should interchangeably use both equity and equality. There are things that a boy should learn to do because society has changed, not just for girls, for their own sake, but also have customized training for this young man to become the man that we want them to become. And as customized training for the girl, not just put them on the same level, because it just doesn't work like that.
When you talked about that kid that tapped on your shoulder and told you about us, it reminded me of this Bible verse. It's in John 10:21. I found it to be extremely amazing. It says, at that time, Jesus, full of joy through the Holy Spirit, said, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and learned and revealed them to little children. Yes, Father, for this is what you were pleased to do. Had it been a pastor maybe telling you that my boys are calling you, you would say that's what pastors do. They help us get into our calling, or maybe he's observed me for some time and I think he sees that I fit into this calling. But God sending this child to come and tell you how about us. Remember the Bible passage where Paul was about to go to preach somewhere and the Holy Spirit asked him not to go, and then he dreamt another person in a different place calling him that come to, I think it was Macedonia, calling him, please come for us, come come and pray to us. I think that's the call that kid gave you. How about us? But I think also that's the call that kid, that God through that kid gave to all of us who are watching here tonight. I think the boys are asking, how about us? Yeah, there's so much about girls, there's so much about what's happening.
And it's good.
Yeah, of course it's excellent, it's awesome, but as you mentioned, the only problem I see with it is that if it is single-sided, then it doesn't solve a problem, because most of these problems are caused by men. Unless you educate men not to cause these problems, you're going to continue to fix the fruits and never fix the roots. So I think there also needs to be the likes of you who are also focusing on this other part of the problem and helping, you know, curb these things before they become other things, because definitely women need to be empowered. They need to be empowered. You look at yourself and how your father was instrumental in making you who you are and giving you confidence and boldness and believing in you. That's something that you definitely need. You need men here and there to believe in you, to encourage you, instead of attacking you, instead of coming against you and trying to destroy you or trying to manipulate and exploit you. But most of the times those who do that, it's because there's also something that is going on in their lives that needs to be fixed. So I'm not saying that men who do bad things shouldn't be punished, they should, but probably before the next one does the same thing, they could be fixed. And I believe that if God can fix anything, then he can fix men. And in today's world, we do need that. So thank you so very much for coming here tonight. And
Thank you for having me.
Speaking to us once again. One of the reasons why I proposed these two series, the dignity of masculinity and dignity of femininity. In fact, I first thought of starting the dignity of masculinity, but I realized if we did that, then we would be, in my opinion, we would be making the same mistake that I think those who are only focused on women and girls and not focusing on boys are making. And I think it's better when they are complemented, because again, God created man and male and female. He created them both in God's image. And I think our efforts, of course, if they are likes of Jullian, there should be likes of other people who are also focusing on women to make sure that they're empowering both. So thank you so much for what you're doing, for what you've been doing. Thank you for accepting that the Holy Spirit uses you. And I'm praying and hoping that from our viewers and from those who may not be able to view us, but who we are going to meet along the way, this call, this young boy asking, what are you doing about us? How about us? I hope most of us are going to be able to answer that call. Yeah. We're coming to the end of our conversation. And today's Easter also reminds us of the importance of men, because Jesus himself was a man. He died for men. And for women who love them, for all women, of course, and for all men. So men are not as useless as the saying goes nowadays. You know, you've seen hashtags like men are trash. It's indiscriminate. It doesn't explain exactly what they're trying to say. And when you challenge that, they tell you, it's because you don't understand our story. First, give us the story. But the problem with that, and I think that's what you concluded with, is that if you tell them they are trash, they are going to try to be trash. If you tell them they are something,
you call them dogs,
they are going to try to be that man. So thank you so much for what you're doing to the world and to the men's world. And to our viewers, thank you so very much for choosing to join tonight and for always watching us and for always sharing your feedback. We'll be sharing the website of Jullian Boys Foundation in the description of our video, and we hope that all of us as men and women are going to do our best to empower both girls and boys, and probably those who have felt a stronger calling towards boys tonight are going to be able to do what they can be able to do on their own, and also be able to join others in trying to help. If we could join the Jullian Boys Foundation or any other foundation, if you're maybe not watching us from here, there's so many ways in which we can help boys, and there's so many ways in which we can help girls, and I guess it's up to us to pray to God and ask him to guide us, and we'll find out where do we actually support, because you don't have to be a man to help men only, or be a girl that you're going to, if you're a girl that you're going to help girls only, you can help boys even when you're a girl, just like our friend Miss Jullian. So just pray to God and find the guidance from him. Let him tell you or guide you on where you're supposed to be focusing your energy, but make sure you do something about it. I'm going to do something about it. I hope you get to do something about it. And I thank you so much. This conversation is staying the course. I hope we continue to stay the course in our resurrection story, in our Christian lives. I hope we stay the course in our mentoring of those that we have gone ahead of, and seeking mentorship for those who are ahead of us. I hope we stay the course in every way, and of course we are about to enter into the commemoration period. I hope and I pray that the genocide survivors will continue to stay the course, continue to be resilient, and will continue to seek and find strength in Christ. So thank you so much. Again, this is empowered by Christ for the Nations Ministries, and I was your host, Muvunyi. Good evening.